of the Canadian Audit and Accountability Foundation. Ms. Bellringer.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. It's my first time doing it over the phone, so thank you so much for this opportunity. It is a pleasure to catch up with you today, and of course, also my pleasure to represent the Canadian Audit and Accountability Foundation. So I thought I would take this opportunity just to touch base with you, mostly in case you had any questions for me about the Canadian Audit and Accountability Foundation report that you've all certainly seen. So there are. I see the slides in the background. I've got the screen up on my computer, and I'm not going to actually go through anything in the first slide or the second slide. I'm assuming someone at that end controls the roll forward. So if you could just move straight through them to the roadmap. I did want to congratulate all of you on your progress to date. And I see from, it's about the third slide in, third or fourth.
No, we're there. Thank you. The roadmap
Oh, okay, thank you. I see you're somewhere between steps 4 and 5 now. So you've already put your dates out for your meetings, which is really a great, it may feel administrative, but it's actually a really good practice along that roadmap. You can skip through the who we are too. I think you already know who the foundation is by now. Don't underestimate the hard work you have ahead of you. But getting to this point is something that you should be proud of. So once you do have an Auditor General in place, and you're actually into the exercising oversight part. These are diagrams that were taken out of the Foundation's report, and they were already used by the informal working group in your previous presentation. So I'm not bringing you any new information here, but you are along a very important part of the pathway and quite near the end of it, quite frankly, in terms of the steps to get there. The recruitment that you have coming up is an important step. And the real work of the Audit Committee would be what you have to do once you have the auditor in place, you have a plan for that, the audits coming up, and then you now have audit reports to review. So at that point, you'll be calling witnesses to speak to the action plans to fix any of the problems identified in the audit reports. And I'm not going to take up much of your time here. I did want to just make myself available to you. And I'll leave you with the one comment that and it's not a sales pitch as much as it is a support pitch. The Foundation has a lot of reference material. It's all available on our website to the public, to everybody. And we regularly present workshops to assist oversight bodies. We were, in fact, at the House of Commons Public Accounts Committee earlier this week. It was called Demystifying the Public Accounts. I'm not sure, they're a complex set of financial statements, so I'm hoping that we help them. And that's just one example of many of the workshops that we do. So I am looking forward to continuing to watch your progress, and I'm happy to support your work. So that's my full presentation.
Thanks, Ms. Bellringer. You do have questions from Councillor Hardwick.
Thank you very much. Clerk, you took down that slide deck kind of too quickly. If I'd like to go back to one of those slides, if that's possible, the second to last one. Hoping that we can go back there. So thank you very much, Ms. Bellringer, for all your help and support. This is the inaugural meeting of the Auditor General Committee, so it is an important milestone, and we are at the stage where we just had our first recruitment committee meeting and are just working out the logistics. It's still going to be some months away before we have an Auditor General and start to lay out the plan. But at the point where in this diagram, we have us recruiting and training staff and determining audit practices, standards, and office policies. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what kind of support we might be able to get from you? Because we're clearly going to have to bring ourselves both at this committee level and at the staff level and intersecting with our regular staff. Will you be able to help us with that?
So the ones I'm not going to say yes or no because it depends what that would be. The kinds of practices that we're talking about would be things that would normally be put in place by the Auditor General themselves. Because it does get into which audit standards are they going to choose to follow. There are some choices to be made. And then even within the kind of software and hardware that they need to support the methodology, that too will depend on the kind of standards they choose to apply. So there is quite a bit of input you'll need from the Auditor General as soon as that person is appointed. I did have some contact back and forth with some of the people putting individual budgets together, and they are able to look at it at a fairly global and broad perspective around the kinds of things they're going to need to consider. We had not done work on that in any specific way, but I just knew about it, so I was able to share with them some information. I'm always happy to do that in an informal way, but you will need the Auditor General there to really get that one done right.
What about this committee and our council members? Might there be an opportunity for a briefing or something on that would be helpful to this group?
So it feels like perhaps what might be helpful, and I mean you certainly can consider what your where you want that to go to, and I'm happy to consult with you about what we would be able to assist with. We could explain what those various options are so that there's a better understanding around why it is that you can't just go and get it and hand it to an auditor. That there's a bit of a detailed explanation about why I'm saying that. And I do know that across Canada, at the federal, provincial, and municipal level, Auditors General apply their work, do their work in different ways. And the kinds of databases they're using, the kinds of software they're using, the methodology usually goes into some sort of an audit manual, and it is important for the Auditor General to decide which one they're going to use, and they will have to be involved.
That's very much appreciated.
We could give you something.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Hardwick. Next have questions from Councillor Wiebe.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming to speak to us today. My first question is on I looked at your diagram, it talks about putting the pieces